How's it going, Brayden?
You know, Megan, I'm just doing fantastic.
Do you happen to know what solfege is?
No.
Do, re, mi, fa, so?
Oh, I know what that is. He goes, do, re, mi, fa, so, do,
Yes,
you,
but-
girl. So,
No.
always keeps
Incorrect.
Jeez.
Brayden, no, okay, just listen for a second. Solfege, also called solfa or solfeggio, provides a framework for melodies by establishing recognizable relationships between pitches and training your ear to hear patterns. It is an excellent source for learning the architecture behind music and its fundamental concept of ear training.
Pardon?
Hand signals, music, they go together sometimes. Brayden, have you ever seen The Sound of Music?
No. But I've heard it with my ears.
The Sound of Music, a musical, contains a song that perfectly frames the solfege in a catchy and easy to understand way. Do, a deer, a female deer, re, a drop of golden sun, me, a name I call myself, fa, a long, long way to run, so, a needle pulling thread, la, and wood to follow, so, tea, a drink of jam and bread, that will bring us back to do, 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 do.
Oh.
A deer, a female deer,
Ray.
a drop of golden sun,
Me.
a name I call myself,
Fa.
a long, long way to run,
So.
a needle pulling thread,
Fa.
a note to follow, so
T.
a drink of jam and bread that will bring us back to do, 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 do.
Enough fooling around. Okay? We need to get down to business right now.
Got it. Okay. This is a staff. The staff consists of 5 horizontal lines on which musical notes lie. The lines and the spaces between the lines represent different pitches. Lower pitches are lower on the staff, and higher pitches are higher on the staff.
With a blank staff, we can't tell what notes we need to play. So, since we can't really use a blank staff to read anything, we use clefs to tell us which note corresponds to which line or space on the staff. So the most common clefs we have are treble clef and bass clef. And the treble clef kind of looks like a G, and it starts on the G, and there we go. It's kind of like that. So along with the staff and the clef, we have the musical alphabet. It's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And each space and line gets a certain letter. So for this clef, it's called the G clef. And treble clef is called the G clef. And that's because where the loop starts, it's on G. And it also kind of looks like a G, right? As it comes down here, it's a very fancy G. And so from this point, you know where G starts, which is on the second line of the staff. And from there, you can use the musical alphabet and understand where you're going upwards and where you're going downwards. So if you start on G, you go G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G again. And if you're going downwards, you G, F, E, D, C. So there are acronyms to remember these as well. And so for treble clef, you have E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. But to remember the lines, I always did every good boy deserves fudge. There are other ones, but that's the one I like. And for the spaces, right, you have F, A, C, E, spaces easy as can be. That's what I used. So.
The bass clef, also called the F clef, has 2 dots above and below the second line from the top. So you draw a dot on the F, pull it down to the B, and then 2 dots that identify that line as F. And then from there, we can work above and below to identify the other notes on the scale.
So from the F, if we're working backwards, it goes F, E, D, C, B, A, and G. And then if we're working upwards, you go from F to G to A. Now the acronyms that go along with this are Go Broncos, Don't Fumble Again, or there's some other ones that you can look up as well, or All Cows Eat Grass. From these clefs, we can create a scale. Now, scales comes from the Latin word for ladder. In other words, it steps up or down from pitch between an octave, of which all melodies and harmonies can be created. Now, for this demonstration, we're going to start with a major scale.
So on a piano, if we're looking at the C major scale starting at middle C, the C scale incorporates 8 notes from C to C. Every scale you'll ever meet is a specific pattern of intervals, and an interval is the term for the distance between any two musical notes, from the smallest step to the largest range. Like most scales, the major scale pattern works with half steps or semitones and whole steps or tones. Half steps and whole steps are the two smallest intervals in the traditional musical alphabet. For major scale, the pattern is whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So I'm going to demonstrate a whole step. A whole step is do to re. And with a piano, you can kind of get a nice visual of what a half step would be instead of a whole step. So if you have do to re instead of do to this note, it's weird, right? It doesn't sound right. So this is a whole step because there's a black note in between it, and there you can see the steps to get to this note. And then there's the half step, which you can see again here, or you can actually see it in E and F. Notice how there's no black note here, but it's still the same as this. It's the same interval as the half step.
This is an important distinction to make because when singing solfege, a major scale will always match the pattern of whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Let's quickly go through each hand sign in the C major scale. We're going to start at the belly button for do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do to re is a whole step. Re to mi is a whole step. Mi to fa is a half step. Fa to sol is a whole step, sol to la is a whole step, la to ti, whole step, and finally, ti to do is a half step.
So like mentioned before, solfege helps us to read the staff and scale in an easy way, with visuals and physical distinctions. Each syllable corresponds with a pitch on the staff. Do will always represent the starting note of the scale, right here. If we are in C major, that scale will start on C. And do will start on C. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do.
Okay there, thank you so much for watching. That's the end of the video.
Fantastic.
Thank you for getting through it.
Thank you.
Next week we're gonna have another video coming out real soon. Bloopers.
All right, after this, let's go. Let's try zooming out. How did it do that?
Okay, ready? So much. Okay, let's do it again. Okay.
I heard it with my ears. This is serious time, baby. Hold on. Come on. 2, 1. Stop! I didn't try my best here.